Hi, my name is Esther Colombo, and I will be one of the teachers who will be teaching you about budgeting today and how to create a budget that will specifically work for you. So, first thing first, we always hear about budgeting. What is budgeting exactly? Budgeting involves being able to identify your income versus your expenses. So you create a list of your income, and then you also create a list of your expenses. And it also helps you identify your needs versus want. And Tree, my colleague, is going to talk more about the importance of identifying a need versus a want.
Hi, I'm Tree Raybold. I'm a financial coordinator here at Guardianship Services, and my job today is to talk to you about not only budgeting, but the needs and wants that we experience every day. And one of the most important things we ask, or we need to ask ourselves when we're starting a budget, is do I make enough money to actually pay for everything I'm doing? Now, if it comes out that I don't make enough, there's a couple options. I need to either make more money or I need to spend less money. Depending on who you ask, some will say it's easier to make more, some will say it's easier to spend less. But I'd like to give you a few ideas on both. So, to make more money, obviously you could go get another job. But a lot of the folks I work with are on fixed incomes. They're on disability or SSI benefits. So they don't always have the option of going to get another job. Yet on the checks they make, they don't necessarily have enough money to pay all their bills. So I suggest that you consider doing things like applying for housing, applying for food stamps. There are programs that can help you, depending on what community you're in, that will help you with your electric bill. There are a variety of ways that you can increase that income without actually going out and having to work if you're in a position where working is not an option. So spend less. Now that seems to be more challenging to get people to understand. We tend to live in a society of multitude. We want and want and want, and we like immediate gratification. So I like to refer to it as a fast food society. So we want to go through, get that meal, and get going. It's really important that we look at what is a need, which I define as something that helps you remain healthy. Rent, electricity, paying for groceries, water, those things are going to be needs. Those things are not really optional. Now, there are things that are optional. Buying a new TV, going out and picking up a coffee every day on your way to work. Frequently, when we're on a limited income, it's hard to see how we can save money to be able to make those purchases of the wants. Many years ago, one of the ladies I worked with decided she really wanted a TV. She wanted a new big TV, and so she was going to get it. But she didn't have the money, she thought. So she went to a rent-to-own store, and she got herself in a contract, and she took a TV home. When I met with her and looked over the contract she had signed, I did the math and realized she was going to pay a couple $1,000s for that TV with all the interest. So what we did was we went to a local big box store and we found the exact same TV for $300. Well, needless to say, she learned a big lesson that day, that she could actually save a little bit of money each week or each month and go pay cash and be done, rather than pay for years on something and pay thousands of dollars for it. So when you're looking at the things that aren't necessities, I really want to encourage you to make sure you take time and decide how important it is. Is it important enough to get caught up in a payday loan that's going to just be a vicious cycle? Would it be better to just wait and save a little bit of money each month and be able to actually go pay cash for an item? So as I've said, learning the difference between needs versus wants can be very important. Knowing what keeps you healthy and makes you healthy, and knowing what you're buying just because you want it, it's really important that you think about those things. So now Esther's going to talk to us about how to chart all this information.
Well, thank you, Tree, for kind of clarifying to us the difference between wants and needs. It's very important. It's very easy for someone to kind of get confused and thinking that something that they simply want is a need. But I really appreciate you explaining that. So now we will kind of just move forward in talking about the process of creating a budget. What does that really involve? So when you are creating a budget, of course, you have to go down the list, create a list of all your resources, and then create another list of all your expenses. When I'm talking about resources, I am talking about income. So income is simply the money that you receive that comes to you on a regular basis. It may be from your employment, it may be Social Security, it may be your VA, and it may also be child support. So all those are qualified income. Those are money that a lot of people relied on a monthly basis to cover up their expenses. And so there are other types of income, but I would like for us to focus more on the income that are much more regular. Sometimes we receive gifts from family members, from loved ones, birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, and it may be a significant amount, but that does not necessarily come on a yearly basis or on a monthly basis. So those gifts may sometimes help us maybe pay something extra, but it may not necessarily be considered as regular income. So once we create a list of all our resources of our income, where all the money comes from, we add everything up and we come up with a total. So that is the total amount that we will be working with. So when we are talking about income, so I understand that sometimes when we are applying for certain things like a loan or a car loan or a house loan, they ask us sometimes for our gross income. However, I want to stretch the importance of considering your net income when you are creating a budget. So the net income is the money that you actually brings home after everything is deducted. So that is the money that you get to keep. It is very important that you create your budget based on the money that you will actually have. Once you create that, you have your total amount of income, and then you move forward and create a list of all your expenses. So you want to make sure that every time you are creating a list of your expenses, you are creating the list based on the important things first. So in addition to the rent, electricity, water, we are talking about food. We are talking about healthcare. Those are also very important things that we want to make sure that we are considering when creating a budget. I know we live in society right now where cell phone is very important, and I strongly believe it too. We are living in a world where when you do not have your cell phone, you feel like a part of you it's not with you. However, there may be some choices to make when deciding on the type of cell phone to get. How do we apply the idea of a need versus want when we are talking about a cell phone? So let me give you an example. We are talking about, let's say, someone who has an iPhone, the latest model of an iPhone. So when you have the latest model of an iPhone, most likely the amount that you have to pay for that it's extremely high. So what most people do, they lease the phone. So they pay only they pay for service on a monthly basis, but in addition to the service amount that they pay in order to receive service, they have to pay an additional amount, let's say like $25 or $35 just for the phone. While you can also have a smartphone that allows you to get on YouTube and Google, but it comes maybe free. It's maybe an LG or just the cheap version of a Samsung, and you do not have to pay an additional amount apart from the monthly service that you need. You will be better off going for a phone that comes free, and then all you have to do is pay for the service. In conclusion, the budget helps you draw a line. It's like a guidance. It guides you to how you will spend your money and how you will remain self-sufficient by making wise decisions.
A trap many of us fall into is this thing called keeping up with the Joneses. Esther, as a much younger person, didn't quite understand that statement, so I thought I would explain it. Basically, keeping up with the Joneses is when I see that my friends or my neighbors have the latest iPhone, or maybe they got a new laptop or an iPad, I think, I've got to have that too. Well, the reality is you don't. When we think about how many thousands of years we've lived on this earth, the majority of those have been without all these modern conveniences. So these things are not necessary. They're fun, we like them, but they're not necessary. And when it comes down to whether or not we can afford them, or whether it comes down to I can pay my rent or I can pay my cell phone bill, it really becomes important that we think about the things that are going to make us healthy, safe, and secure. By creating a budget, we are able to be secure in the fact that our bills are paid. We are able to have money tucked away so that if an emergency comes up, like Esther referred to, we have the money to take care of it. And we are certainly secure in the knowledge that we have a healthy and safe place to live. Thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. We certainly hope you learned something.